Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. It is Follow the Money. This show is brought to you by DraftKings, and we're live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Starting this hour off with professional sports bettor Erin Rynning, one of the very best in the entire world betting the NBA. ER, thanks for the time today. We appreciate it. I want to ask you a question about last night's game, Celtics-Knicks, as ER here is on the progressive guest line. How much of that do you take away moving forward to the playoffs as a positive for the Knicks? Because the Celtics did play all their guys, right? And they got blown out by the Knicks. But also being careful with that because the Celtics here, they've had nothing to play for a long time. They are running away with the East. And what you think about that team once the playoffs roll around as a result?
Yeah, good to be with you as always, guys. And, I don't put a lot into it, to be honest. Boston obviously has the one seed. They're trying different combinations. They don't really care at this point. So, it's interesting where that spread was because it was 3.5. I did bet the Knicks in that contest. I wish I would have bet more. It's funny because if you go back a couple of games for Boston, I think it was that game against Sacramento. A couple of Fridays ago, that was one of my bigger bets I've had in a month. I had bet Sacramento, and it looked like they were dead going into the fourth quarter. And remember, Boston sat all their, they played everybody, but they sat everybody in the fourth quarter. And here, Sacramento came storming back, almost a chance to win that game. So, all I could say is remember last year with Denver. Denver really kind of coasted through the final month and a half of the season. They pretty much had the one seed. So they did not play well. I remember I had guys that follow this stuff be like, well, I don't think Denver can win the title. And, they just kind of laid in the weeds if you can, and the playoffs came around. So I would expect that for the Celtics. I mean, this looks like the Celtics Invitational in the Eastern Conference, unless things fall right, maybe for Philadelphia. But, boy, they're going to be good. And, the Knicks are going to be a tough out here in the East as well.
Good answer. Good memory as well. How important, I don't think it's a big deal for players. How important is seeding when you're handicapping games today and Sunday, if you're going to make a wager or not?
I don't put that much into it, guys. You'll see it with perhaps the Milwaukee Bucks tonight have a chance for really most likely going to get the 2 seed, but hey, they can fall to the 3 and 4. That's the furthest they can fall, but they have a chance to sit everybody here tonight, and they're probably, again, a little bit paranoid with Giannis getting hurt the other night, but Oklahoma City's almost a 15-point favorite. And I'll probably bet Oklahoma City for a little bit here, but the Bucks don't seem to care about this game at all. Some teams more than others. As far as seeding, I don't think it's a big deal. Obviously, if a team's in a 4 or 5 situation, they'll probably play a little bit harder to try to get that 4 seed. Obviously, the big difference for me is, the play-in to seeding. If a team's playing for, the 2 or the 3 or the 4, it's probably not that big of a deal for them. It's not, going to be motivation to make a bet. However, if you're looking at a team like Golden State, obviously the Pelicans, where, they could be, Pelicans could be probably the 6, but they could fall to 7 or 8. Obviously with Golden State, you're looking at that team. They have a chance to maybe be at the 8 and play one less game. So those are the things that, to me, matter here at the last couple of games of the season.
You have a lot of power. You're one of the best in the world, and you bet big. Head fakes today and Sunday, are you able to manipulate the market more so now? Or is it more difficult because everyone's just wait? Like if you come out right now and make a big bet on somebody, can then you come back later in the day and get a juicy number? How much will people overreact if you do something right now?
Yeah, you definitely can do that. I don't know if there's a lot of that going on. The one thing I will say is, the market is quite a bit smaller the last couple days of the season because these games are generally circled. Mm-hmm. They don't know if guys are playing. So the limits are a little bit less than they would be throughout the regular season because they don't know who's playing. The books are a little bit more cautious. So it is easier to meet, to move stuff. But with that said, stuff will move a lot faster as well. So if you can make a little smaller bet and, maybe they move something a half point or a point, books will move a little bit more aggressively as well. You saw that with the Phoenix Suns, obviously the other night, going back against the Clippers. I actually bet Phoenix Suns in both those games against the Clippers. Boy, that's roller coaster betting on that team. But, you saw that line really move the other night.
Well, that's the thing, right? That's the next game I wanted to ask you about. You're leading right into it. We're talking to Erin Rynning, professional sports bettor here on the Progressive Guest Line. So that team, completely unreliable. They're lane 5 against Sacramento, but on the flip side, the Kings are just a total mess right now. Is this maybe just a stay away, or what do you think about that number?
Really, it's kind of the number. It was a stay away game for me, as I didn't really see anything going in to that game. But boy, I was surprised to see the Phoenix Suns a 5-point favorite. I mean, I tell you what, I've tried to bet against this Phoenix Suns team with really pretty much success throughout the season so far. I just haven't liked it. They haven't had a good feel. And I found them in some pretty good spots, and I've tried to bet them. And I tell you what, it's backfired just about every single time. I mean, it just hasn't been a team that's reliable. It can count on. They have one of the worst against the spread marks. But, yeah, they've been well regarded in the marketplace. They've actually played a little bit better. Defensively, they've gotten it together. But, like I say, I bet them the other night against the first game against the Clippers. I laid 7. Couldn't believe it. 35-4 in the first quarter. I mean, how do you take that team serious? I mean, I laid 7. They went off at 9.5. You feel decent about that bet. No Harden, no Kawhi.
Yeah.
I mean, what a debacle. 51-14. And then I'm like, well, okay, I got to do it again because I thought it was even a better spot. I mean, I was around the world in that game. First quarter, first half game, and it turned out to be a great bet. When I laid 4.5, and they go off a 12-point favorite,
right?
And had to sweat the whole thing. I lose my first. I couldn't believe I lost the first half. They're up 51-36, and they blow that. Going into halftime. So it's just been crazy. And 5. I mean, Sacramento has definitely had a tough go here, but the schedule has not been great. For them as well. They went on that road trip. They go to Oklahoma City. Not great. They gave that game up in the second half, but first game off that road trip last night, so they did fight back. But I may bet Sacramento here in this one. Definitely lean that way.
I think Denver's too high. Wembanyama's supposed to play 13.5 on the road. This is a tax because they're trying to get the 1 seed. Thoughts on Denver and San Antonio, and anything else you recommend or anything else you think you're going to play?
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't had a great read on the San Antonio team. I had a hard time early in the season, so I just kind of stayed away from them for the most part. Definitely have a lot of guys out. They laid an egg the other night. Not positive Wemby's actually going to play here. I would expect him to. But you're right, it's probably a little bit different. Denver playing for this 1 seed. You saw them come out and play well against Minnesota the other night. Not involved in that game. The last, couple days here of the regular season is kind of a bizarre schedule. No games here for Saturday. This is generally when I'll look to maybe bet some bad teams here, against teams that are just into the playoffs or whatever, clinched and everything, and not paying that much attention. Obviously, been trying to fade Boston a little bit, but I'll have a bet on the Wizards tonight against the Bulls. Obviously, the Bulls lock up home court in that first game against Atlanta. Okay. Doesn't mean anything. I'd be surprised if they played a lot of guys here. I would expect Caruso to be out. Washington trying to build something for next season, still seem to be playing for somewhat hard. I mean, if some of these starters are missing for Washington, that's a good thing for this team. They've been so bad. So, you're really trying to make a case for them. I actually bet Charlotte the other night against Atlanta. I had them on the money line. So, you try to find those spots, but, that's one I'm looking for. But you can't be afraid to lay it as well. I'll probably lay it with Miami. They got embarrassed when they played Toronto. Miami actually sitting decent here. Toronto goes to Miami for 2 games. So Bet a little bit on Miami, Washington. Probably lean to bet the Pacers plus the points. So some of the games I'm looking at tonight.
Yeah. All right. Good insight. Appreciate it. And we'll talk to you once the playoffs start. Thanks, ER.
I can't wait for that. Thanks, guys. Good luck.
Yep. Thanks, ER.
He crushed another great year, and the grind will be over for him. At ER Sports 1 on X, he was on the Progressive guest line. This is what the Lakers need. They need the Pelicans to beat Golden State tonight and the Suns to beat Sacramento. And if they win out, they get the 8th seed.
All right, so you're telling me there's a chance.
Well, that's not that crazy.
That can happen, but
now Brandon Ingram is coming back and I know Shaq and Barkley talked about this Sunday. Sunday he's playing? Ingram's back Sunday, the final game.
No games tomorrow.
I know, but they could use him tonight, but they want to get him some run because they're going to probably be in the play-in. But again, a lot can happen here. The Suns have the tiebreaker over the Pelicans, but the Pelicans have the lead right now for the 6. But the Pelicans have to go to Golden State, and then they host the Lakers, Phoenix in Sac, and then they go to Minnesota.
Right.
Sac, Golden State, and the Lakers all have the same record with 2 games left. Sac has the tiebreaker. They'd be the 8, Golden State the 9. The Lakers are the 10. They're 10 games over 500. They're the 10 seed. I don't think you'd...
Playing at Golden State as of right now for the play-in.
Yeah. Yes.
Oof.
Lakers should bury Memphis tonight, but then they have to go to New Orleans on Sunday, and there'll be a lot on the line for the Pelicans. But that's a big one tonight with Golden State laying 4 at home.
More on tonight's card coming up next. And I made a couple of baseball future bets yesterday that I'll tell you about here on VSiN.
Limited time offering 2 weeks of our exclusive betting splits for free. Just sign up, vsin.com/splits. It's updated with DraftKings odds every 5 minutes, so you can see changes in all the action. Find out where the public's betting based on the number of tickets and where the money doesn't match the public opinion. Check out future events as well. Take advantage, limited time offer, vsin.com/splits. We're underway. Tiger Woods with a bogey. He's got 4 holes left in round 2, and Hatton just put it in the drink.
Oh.
And who just did that?
Bear.
Oh, no. Is it in the drink?
I can't tell. They're panning out like it might be.
That's not good. I think he's in the drink.
The way he's shaking his head right now. Doesn't look great. You made a comment during the break, and I said, my tease was I made a couple of baseball bets yesterday. Who did you say is good?
Kansas City, I've seen enough, I'm buying.
Wow, we didn't even have this discussion.
Their pitching is for real. The Royals are for real. Kansas City Royals.
That's the team I bet on yesterday.
All right.
What did you grab? I bet division 7-1.
Oh, yeah?
I would shop around. I haven't looked yet this morning. I would say if you can find anywhere close to 7-1, that's absolutely worth a bet.
Well, I know you're anti-Twins already. I told you to pump the brakes on that, but that's okay.
I think the Guardians can be good, but Bieber's out for the year, which is massive. Bybee, by the way, got lit up again the other day for him. He was supposed to be one of their better pitchers this year. I don't know about the Tigers. Maybe they can be good. The White Sox are terrible. So to me, 7-1 is a really good number on that team if they're still available. And look, they're down to plus 475 today at DraftKings. They just pounded the Astros, and that is alarming for the starting pitching so far this year for Houston. The other one is, why not? In the American League to win the pennant, I took KC at 100-1. That was out there. Again, if you want to look around, other books had 40-1. Anything can happen in the playoffs. I think we have to acknowledge this at this point. I don't expect this team to get a bye. In fact, I won't even want the Royals to get a bye based on how these teams play when they have time off. I hope they can win their division, get in, host a series, and then they're alive. And 100-1 at that point would be, you're right, Paul. Their pitching, I think, is... by the way, they have Mike Trout Jr. Witt is insane.
Yep.
And they have other young players. So far, it's early April. Like, will they sustain this? Probably not. But their young core has been really, really good with the stick so far, and that's a good sign to me.
And I think the White Sox are the worst team in baseball.
Could be. You're not going to get a disagreement from me.
Yikes.
They're young, they're exciting, they can hit, good pitching. In a weak division, I'll take 7-1 all day long on them.
All right.
What else do you like tonight in the NBA? Nolan Jones, Rockies, steal a base today. He's plus 390 at DraftKings. I bet plus 360 out here. I'll have more numbers on that later on during In Pocket.
Also, some tweets here about the markup. I know your parody account said his dad's there today. He's going to spend about $2,000. And Brett says, the markup isn't terrible. And you look down, you realize, wow, I got like 8 things. But they say they ship right to you. You don't have to carry anything.
It's beautiful.
Ship right to your house.
Did you see how big that place is?
Yes. They're going to do $70 million in merchandise sales at Augusta.
I mean, honestly, if you do go there and it's the one time you're going to go, I'm not talking about the people who go every single year. I mean, forget about that because you can do whatever you want. But I've never been, right? Late 40s. If I ever go there, it's by the time I look down at my, what do you get, a basket and you put your stuff in? I'm going to have 15 things.
Yeah.
Like everything's just, okay, I'm never coming back, so give me this, And before I check out, it's going to be, like the parody account said, $2,000, no problem.
Yep.
And you're going to buy for other people.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you have that angle, no doubt. Now, I expect Wembanyama to play, but this is too much here with Denver.
I would agree.
If he plays. I mean, 13.5. I know you're going for the 1 seed, but on the road, and you just... Now, you didn't have Murray in that game, but that came down to the wire. That was the game Wembanyama had 9 blocks. And I do agree with everyone. Shut down Defensive Player of the Year once you saw... Did Chris Brown decide Defensive Player of the Year? He goes right at Gobert and dunks over him, and he wanted no part of Wembanyama with the side-by-side footage, which I retweeted.
I will say that voters are now starting to share who they're voting for. Wemby's got some steam.
All right, good for you.
See the guy from The Ringer?
Who's that?
Michael Pena.
What'd he say?
He put out his entire ballot yesterday. Wembanyama's going to get his vote.
Good. Common sense prevails.
Let's hope.
13's too high. That's a tax. That is if Wembanyama plays.
Yeah, right.
And what he means because he's surrounded by stiffs, especially on the defensive end. I agree with ER. The Bulls have wrapped up the 9 seed. They will host Atlanta. I would like the Wizards. 76ers laying 7.5. Could be a tick high. Now, Orlando's struggling, and they still have a lot to play for, and the Sixers are trying to at least get the 7 seed, if not the 6. And you got that big game that ER mentioned in Cleveland with the Cavs laying 2.5 against the Pacers. So I think that could be a tick high with the 76ers. I do like the game over in that. And the Knicks, it's right there for them with the 2 seed. They're laying a double digits against the Nets. Then they have a cupcake on Sunday. Milwaukee is a 14-point dog in OKC. And then Milwaukee goes to Orlando. So this really could happen here for the Knicks after the big win last night.
Well, let me give you this on the Spurs. The NBA official injury report will update at the bottom of the hour. As of right now, Wemby is not listed anywhere. They have 4 or 5 guys out tonight. Wemby's not even on the list. So does that change later on the day? Does he suddenly... They'll update in 9 minutes here as we're live. Does he suddenly get added at this point? Is it going to be a little bit later on in the day? But right now, it looks pretty good that he's going to go.
Yep. He mentioned he's laying the wood in the Miami game. I agree with that. Raptors, terrible, other than the 1 win when they beat Milwaukee. Heat's still trying to at least get the 8 seed.
Right.
They have Toronto today and Sunday. The Heat this should be a game where you're up 25 in the third quarter. You sit everybody and get ready for Sunday. So I would lay it with the Heat. I agree with ER. And I think the Clippers should eviscerate the Jazz. Now, the Jazz finally won a game, but they're on a back-to-back, and the Clippers still need one more win to get home court against Dallas. That's the one matchup we know. For the third time going back, the Clippers are going to meet Dallas in the first round. What a matchup that'll be. I saw Barkley last night. Thinks the winner of that's the second-best team in the West. Whoever wins that series, he said.
Wow.
But I think the Clippers should take out the Jazz, no problem. I mean, they're so deep. Even you saw what the backups did against Phoenix. So I think they should win by 30 tonight against Utah.
Here's the Milwaukee official injury report as we speak. Again, Giannis definitely out. Y'all knew that. Lillard, he's listed currently as doubtful. He's not going to play. You have Middleton, questionable. Brook Lopez, questionable. Bobby Portis, questionable. So if there is a decision here to sit all of these players...
It should be all of them.
Nobody should play for them.
No.
Will the organization make that call? Who knows? But he did mention that as well, ER, that the Thunder here might be worth a look too.
Yep. I'm playing Golden State money line as well. Laying 4 at home against the Pelicans. Pelicans off a big win last night. Zion was great. McCollum was great. But a back-to-back in Sac, a little bit of travel, not much, right down the road, but still. Golden State sitting there waiting for them. They didn't play anyone in the last game against Portland. And Golden State knows they win this game, they're going to at least get the 8 and maybe do better than that.
Oh, there's definitely motivation here for them.
Because, again, they're the 9, but they lose the tiebreaker to Sac. But Sac's got they're a 5.5-point dog tonight against Phoenix. They can still win the game. I mean, again, the Suns, good luck figuring them out.
Well,
but also, they have to hold off the Lakers.
Yeah.
They got to have, because then the Lakers can jump them too. So you want to have this game at home. In worst case, you want to be able to get the 8, because if you're the 8 again, you get 2 kicks at the can. You can lose, but your season isn't over. If you're in the 9-10, you lose, the season's over. If you're the 7-8, you lose, you still get another shot. But also, if you win that first game, you get the 2 seed. Now, I don't agree with Shaq that I would pick Golden State against Minnesota, but I think Golden State would have an opportunity to beat OKC and give Minnesota a series, but the T-Wolves get the big shot in the arm that Towns is back tonight.
Yeah, I don't think many people are going to make a case for the Wolves, nor are they going to make a case for the Thunder in their opening round match, playoff series. I don't think it's going to happen. Already, if you're going to hear that the Clippers are the second best team in the West, that's just, I mean, this.
Oh, you think so?
Oh, what do you think?
You wouldn't take OKC against the Pelicans or Suns?
Oh, I certainly would.
So would I.
I'm saying
you think
other
other people pick against them.
I don't think. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be surprising.
And I think
but the Pelicans are getting people back. So.
What do the Wolves have to do to get recognition? That is a tremendous basketball team.
Good call. And again, fake markets again. Hello, fake markets. Daignault went to $5, Coach of the Year. I don't understand this. Like, the T-Wolves are probably still going to have a better record or same record.
Yeah, good.
And Finch held it down without Towns.
Huge.
And the guy's still $5?
You can't ignore that.
I do agree with Mosley bye-bye. That
probably the way it's gone this week.
They're probably, best case, they're probably the 4 or the 5.
Yep.
So the ship has sailed on the 2. So bye-bye Mosley.
Also, Maxey up to a huge price now to win Most Improved.
I want to see what Coach Thorpe thinks about that. I don't.
That and also 6-man.
Yes, I hope he makes the case for Naz Reid. But this Most Improved with Maxey, I don't. He's going to win, but to me it's absurd.
If you buy into the market.
Yeah.
Up next, we'll talk UFC 300. Luke Thomas, awesome on the sport, going to join the show. The biggest dog to cash on Saturday night will be who? We'll ask him on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Tonight, you can download the Long Shots podcast. After the Cut Masters coverage, Matt Brown, Wes Reynolds, Kelly Bidlin go over the leaderboard. The best betting opportunities for the weekend ahead. The contenders making their moves, surprises as well. Download Long Shots podcast tonight, vsin.com/podcast. And for continued coverage, vsin.com/masters.
We'll hit the incredible UFC 300 card here. Luke Thomas joins the program from the Morning Combat podcast via DK Network. He's on X at L Thomas News. He does a great job on this sport, has for several years, and he's on the Progressive guest line. Luke, thanks for the time today. We appreciate that. Because the card is so stacked, you're going to have matchups that are going to be very close, but not necessarily in the betting market, so thus creating potentially some really live dogs here, and that's where my eyes generally gravitate anyway. Let me ask you this. Who's the biggest dog that you could see winning outright come tomorrow night?
Well, always remember, betting on different sports, you guys will know this better than me, there's a different degree of variability and chaos that can be had depending on the nature of the sport. I would argue that MMA is relative to, especially like boxing or whatnot, extremely chaotic and hard to predict. But I would say that when I looked at the odds, the one thing that kind of stood out to me was the Charles Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyan fight. They've got, in most places, Oliveira as a 2-1 dog. Now, I understand why they've got a lot of enthusiasm for Tsarukyan, 28 years old, I believe, or maybe 29, but certainly in his 20s, really moving forward with this division in a big way. They both have wins over Beneil Dariush. Charles Oliveira, though, has the most submissions of any fighter in UFC history. He's coming off of a big win, also over Dariush, and also, by the way, is the former weight class champion here. I can understand having enthusiasm, but Oliveira underneath at 2-1? That's a little strong by my estimation.
Okay, I'm a casual fan. I just go by names and the bigger names. How about Holly Holm plus 360? Does she have a chance against Harrison?
There's some value there as well. I would still pick Harrison outright. For folks who may not know, Kayla Harrison is the only American male or female to ever win a gold medal in judo, and she did it twice. Right? We're talking about the best judo player in the history of the country, irrespective of gender. This is her UFC debut. The key here is she fought in judo in the 170 pounds, and in most of her MMA at around 155. She does have one bout at 145. Guys, she's trying to make 135 here.
Yeah.
That's a massive, massive cut. So don't get me wrong. We're talking about a A-plus level athlete and somebody who probably has the skills to win. But what is that weight cut going to take from her? Ooh, going to be interesting to see. Holly Holm, by the way, competing on this card while already residing in the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Yeah, there's some value at plus 360 for sure.
Okay, very good. And I know it's a stacked card because look what we start with Cody Garbrandt. But what's happened here? Because he was supposed to be the next best thing and was on a great run and then lost 5 of 6 fights before winning his last 2. What do you think of him, his career, and plus 270?
I think he's become a little bit more of a mature fighter with the last 2 wins that you saw, but I don't know if I see a ton of value there. I mean, here's basically what happened. One, he had an alignment with a good coach, and that coach and him fell out, and I don't know if he got the same kind of, not just instruction, but overall guidance that perhaps he needed. But the bigger problem was that he had really good offense and probably pretty poor defense.
Okay.
Your chin is a finite resource. It can only get tapped so many times. It doesn't matter who you are. And so as a consequence, he just became a lot more hittable. His style regressed, and he got laid out many, many times. Now, to that point, he has recovered a little bit in these last 2 wins, and they're all pretty good. But, dude, Devison Figueiredo, the former flyweight champion, he in his bantamweight debut, which is what this weight class is going to be, he already made his debut there against Rob Font and beat the brakes off of him. And Font is a stalwart, very talented guy in that division, and his power carried up. I like Figueiredo outright.
Give you a dog that I do not want to bet. In fact, I want to go the other way. We'll see if you can make a case for him. Any interest whatsoever in Jim Miller? He's around plus 155 right now.
Yeah, I'd make a lot. Bobby Green is making a huge turnaround here. He got viciously KO'd by another guy on this card, Jalen Turner, very recently. And here he is right back in this contest. And if you go and look at the nature of that stoppage, it was really late by the referee. Also, he's kind of long in the tooth. Now, so is Jim Miller. But Jim Miller, by the way, fought at UFC 100, UFC 200, and now fighting at UFC 300. Black belt in jiu-jitsu, former Division I wrestler with Virginia Tech. He's got more ways to win than Bobby Green does. It's close. It's a bit of a coin flip, but there is some value there.
How's he been able to do this and sustain this and be around this long?
One, just taking great care of his body. Two, just kind of naturally having a good disposition for not suffering too many injuries. But the bigger part is he is not trying to win the title. Like if you look at the guys he's been fighting, he's just fighting guys who are, relatively new to the UFC or been there a couple of times. And he's serving as a very valuable test for the UFC for guys in that particular place. He's winning most of those contests. So most guys are like, oh, if I can't win the title, then I'm done. Yeah, if Jim Miller was fighting the Islam Makhachevs of the world, he'd be getting washed. But that's not who he's fighting. He's got much more appropriate level matchmaking, and God bless him, the longevity is incredible.
All right, fair enough. It's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Luke Thomas. He's on X at L Thomas News and part of the Morning Combat podcast via the DK Network. How about the main event with Pereira around $1.30 against Hill?
Okay, so Alex Pereira, for folks who may not know, is a highly decorated kickboxer who was a multiple weight champion simultaneously in one of the world's most esteemed organizations called Glory. And he came here to the UFC, was a champion at 185, and now, as you indicated, at 205. Hasn't really been tested by a wrestler, but that's really not what Jamal Hill is. Jamal Hill does not have the kickboxing pedigree, but he is very, very tough and has a huge punch, like really, really very solid power. If he makes connections on you, it creates all kinds of issues. And here's the thing, Pereira's guard, very low. He has very good offense, but doesn't make a whole lot of mind about defense. I like Pereira to win this one. I think more often than not he does. But if they fought 10 times, I would pick Pereira 6. But I'd give Jamal Hill 4 of those. You kind of have to ask yourself which one it's going to be on Saturday night.
There was big news yesterday. I think it's big news. I want to see what you think. Dana White announced the bonuses jumped from $50,000 to $300,000. Should you be looking at unders now, knowing if I knock you out, have the knockout of the night, a great submission, whatever, fight of the night, I come in swinging the whole time for 3 rounds, I could get $300,000. What say you?
So this one is tricky for me. I will say it depends. So here's what you have to understand it. If you're somebody who's on the main card, for example, the bout that I like the most, Charles Oliveira and Arman Tsarukyan, that bout is majorly consequential, right? The winner of that one, in all likelihood, for sure gets a title shot. And so you have a lot to lose if you don't win that contest. And I think that in general, higher caliber fighters in big stakes are going to always resort to, maybe they put on a good performance, but if it ends up being close and tight and not that interesting, they're going to take the safe route because you have way more to lose than you do to gain with 300K. On the other hand, you look at a fight like, let's say, between Renato Moicano and Jalen Turner on the prelim card. By the way, that one is going to be an absolute two dogs getting after it. But at the same time, statistically, if you look at who actually gets the bonuses, it tends to favor main card fighters over prelim card fighters. So the very people who would be very incentivized to go chase this kind of thing are going to be on the portion of the card where they don't really get them as much. And will 300K motivate certain people? I don't really have a doubt that it will, but it's going to be hard to say who's actually going to end up getting it because of all these complicating factors.
Another fight that I can't wait to watch, it's fascinating to me, is Gaethje versus Holloway. Gaethje about $160, $165 in that neighborhood. How do you envision this fight going?
Man, this one is these guys are not going to leave the same people. It's just not going to be that way. This is a 5-round fight, not a 3-round fight. You have Max Holloway, by the way, folks really sleep on him. Former featherweight champion. Here he is bumping up a weight class, and I get it. Justin Gaethje changed the career of Tony Ferguson, given the beating that he handed out to him in May of 2020. I respect that completely, coming off of the head kick KO win over Dustin Poirier. Max Holloway, by the way, when he went 155, again, on his natural weight class, he went the full distance with Poirier and did not win. He actually took a unanimous decision loss there. However, guys, I got to tell you, 35 years of age is a tough place to be where you're Justin Gaethje and the lightweight division. Understand something. MMA 155 and down versus 185 and up, these are two completely different sports, and the caliber of athlete is drastically different, right? So what you're talking about here is maybe the most competitive weight class in the entire world. And a guy, they all say, oh, Max Holloway can't handle leg kicks. Guys, Max Holloway stopped Jose Aldo twice, maybe the best leg kicker in the game. I still think that there's value on Justin Gaethje, or at least I understand why he's the favorite. But if this fight goes past the 3rd round, to me, it becomes a coin flip after that. So maybe the bet isn't up or down who you like, but necessarily how long it goes, and if it does, how that changes the potential outcome here.
And always get involved live betting as well. Luke, we have about 45 seconds here. What did you think of the remake of Roadhouse?
You know what? I didn't see it. I watch so much MMA. I watch so much boxing. I watch so much film that when I actually don't have to work, I just need to unplug for a little bit.
That's
so
fair.
I know a lot of folks who saw it and they loved it. I'm going to catch it eventually, but I got to get through this weekend. I got to get through Haney Garcia next weekend. I'll probably catch it closer to the end of the month.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's real, right? People get burned out once in a while, so you got to just step away from what you do, 20 hours a day. Awesome job as always, Luke. You're great on the sport. Thanks so much for the time today. We appreciate that.
Yeah, good luck with the bets, fellas. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. There you go. Luke Thomas joined us on the Progressive Guest Line at L Thomas News on X, Morning Combat Podcast via the DK Network. Yesterday was just so fascinating. So many things happened. We'll get into 2 of the biggest stories that took place coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
UFC 300 in Vegas Saturday. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the UFC, is giving new customers a chance to turn $5 into $150 instantly in bonus bets with any UFC 300 bet. Download the app, promo code VSiN when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
So more news came out yesterday on the Shohei Ohtani / interpreter situation with iPay and the complaint coming out. Ippei Mizuhara, his translator, placed about 19,000 wagers between December of 2021 and 2024 in January, only a couple of months back, through his illegal booking in Southern California. Average wager, about $12,800. The biggest amount bet on a single match or game was $160,000. I mean, you are allowing this guy to do whatever he wants because he's buried so much. He lost overall in that time frame almost $41 million.
Did they just do this because it was just made-up money anyways? And they just thought, yeah, okay, we'll raise you. Yeah, you can't pick your nose anyways, we'll raise. I mean, once it gets to this point, and I know then that's when the wires were coming in, 500,000. But you lose $40 million, the guy makes 300,000?
Yeah.
I mean, unless he's just lying the whole time. Oh, Ohtani's, I'm good for it. Ohtani's got my back. I mean, how do you just say, yeah, sure, whatever you want? The guy's making 25 bets per day, over and over and over again.
And you get to that point where the wiring is going to be that big. How are you thinking that's a good idea? And that might not set off some alarms.
Oh, no kidding.
That's automatic.
Well, they were doing it
hold
both
on
ways.
here. Yeah.
When he actually won and had a good day, they would send money to him.
Yeah,
it would go not to Ohtani. It would go to him.
His personal account.
But, it goes back to what he, meet me at Walmart. I got $250 for you. I got a garbage bag filled with cash.
Yeah, that's typically how it's going to go for average Joe with $250. Not with this.
Yeah, here. Yeah, okay. You had a nice day. You had a parlay.
So in June of last year, back-to-back-to-back days, this guy just, he couldn't stop. He asked the bookie 3 days in a row, LOL, I'm so bad. I need a bigger bump. Can I get a bigger bump? And then 3 days into it, he goes, it's the last big bump I'm going to ask for. And every time the guy's like, yeah, no problem. And then eventually, it got to the point where he was buried so much that the bookie sent him a message. This is November 17th of last year. Hey, I pay. It's 2:00.
Oh,
You're not returning my calls. I'm in Newport Beach. I see, he doesn't name him. Well, he does. I see Victim A. I see Ohtani walking his dog. I'm going to go up to him and talk to him about why you're not getting in touch with me. You're not responding. Please call me back immediately. So do you think that the bookie randomly saw Ohtani walking his dog in Newport Beach? My guess is not a chance. Like they did that. Or maybe he was just BSing him as well. But also there's a good chance where he had eyes on the prize, right? And your story earlier, they had a Ray Donovan.
Yeah.
You know guys who had a Ray Donovan before.
Ray Donovan on the payroll to help collect. And if you wouldn't pay, I would do something, go into your home, put the unthinkable on your laptop computer, and then, suddenly they would pay. Because if they discover that and I make a phone call, your life is over. We also, for a long time, knew Dave Koken, who's been in this racket a long time. And Dave had friends that would do this. A Boston guy, East Coast guy. They would walk in and take the guy's refrigerator and say, well, when the wife comes home and realizes there's no refrigerator, we'd get the money.
That's all you got to
do that.
Yeah, feedback that we're getting is all you got to do is threaten to make a phone call to the wife. Once that happens, things are going to get figured out.
Yeah, but this is, they have recorded phone calls where he pretends to be Ohtani from the bankers. He told the accountants and financial advisors that Ohtani said, you don't have access to these accounts. And they also didn't speak Japanese. And it's not $4.5 million, it's $16 million.
Yeah.
There's also a report that he stole money to buy thousands of dollars of baseball cards. So 2 years of text messages back and forth. Ohtani and the translator. Not one mention of gambling. And through all of this, not one bet on baseball.
Yep. And the interpreter reached out to the bookie. This is March 20th, last month. Not that long ago, not even a month ago. He reached out to the bookie and said, have you seen the reports? The bookie replied, yes, but it's all BS. Obviously, you didn't steal from him. I understand it's a cover job. I totally get it. I pay, the interpreter responded, quote, technically, I did steal from him. It's all over for me. End of quote, sent that via text message. And again, did not take long here for the feds to get their hands on this stuff and to this to become public knowledge.
Yeah.
The turnaround here. So it seems like they just played in Korea yesterday.
Seen buddy.
Yeah, the dugout.
And I cannot stand tinfoil hat conspiracy guy on everything. Everything. Nope, still not good enough for me. Really? He admits it? All these years of text, nothing? No? Still not good enough? Like it's over for Ohtani if he would lie. And this turns out, oh, he's the fall guy. Really? The guy's going to do 30? Hey, you're a nice guy, Mitch. I'm not doing 30 years for you. I don't care how much money you give me. I mean, it's just this thought process by so many people now. It's been this way for years, and it's out of control, and it's got to stop.
I mean,
no matter what happens, whether it's this, the thing in Baltimore, conspiracy. Oh, they're lying to us again.
The Mandalay Bay stuff out here.
No.
You know, the nut jobs. But think about that. He's basically hopping on the ultimate grenade, looking at 30 years. I mean, maybe in their culture it's different. I don't know. But 30 years?
I'd be hoping to get a deal, but that's also, he could talk. Like, if he has the goods on Ohtani, he'll talk to get a lighter sentence, too.
Right.
That's the other thing, that if anything happened here. To me, even if Ohtani was involved, I'd dismiss some of this. There's not one bet on baseball. That's another thing.
People might push back and say, well, it was through an illegal bookie.
Yeah, but who did we talk to, though?
Oh, he had accounts.
We've had, I know, but we've seen this before, where that happened and the guy just got a fine.
Oh, that's right.
Who said that? We had a guest on who said this has happened before and the guy just got a fine. Was it Vasgersian? In any event, but okay. Be that as it may.
Yeah, because that was, again, going back to your conspiracy theory for a second, nobody believes an innocent until proven guilty. And
it was outrageous from day one.
Like, we were on the air trying to make a case for Ohtani and be like, okay, hold on here. Don't just automatically assume that the guy was betting on these games and he was fully aware of what was going on with the accounts. We were trying to make the case and, bring up ideas that might not be possible. And those people are still convinced that Ohtani was involved somehow.
It's a different culture. The guy's in a different country. He can't speak the language. I mean, it's everything's different stuff. Everything's in play here about how it could happen. And then it comes out about what he was doing, shutting off notifications and lying and recorded phone calls, pretending to be Ohtani.
My whole point was
telling the financial advisors, hey, he's saying this, get lost. I mean, the lengths he would go to. I mean, he is like OJ. Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, the guy lies about everything.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just going back with the text messages with the bookie. One last time. Give me one more bump. This will be it, I swear. How about another one? Right? It's like I'll start it's like everyone, I'll start the diet tomorrow. Oh, you wait, no more. I'll cut out alcohol. I'm good.
Never again. I'm so hungover today.
I won't cheat on you again. I love you, honey. I'll never cheat on you. Mm-hmm. You're the only one for me. Sure. Checks in the mail. Whatever you want to do. Don't worry, I'm on the pill. I mean,
$160,000 a game. That was his biggest bet.
What was with the $10 bet? What?
Oh, had to be a 50-team parlay.
Misclick or something?
That's a parlay.
Okay, you were saying the average.
The average bet $13,000 pretty much.
Wow.
We'll round up here, and the biggest bet they took was $160,000.
Now this is what surprises me.
Pretty nice operation.
When you're in this deep, don't you have any kind of inside information? Whether it's the Angels, wouldn't you think there'd be bets on baseball?
Well, I mean,
KBO something. I mean, you have to have inside information with the Angels if you're good friends with Ohtani.
To give the guy a little credit, he stayed away from that part.
That's surprising, though.
That's the thing, right? Like, this was so bad.
Look at John Day Porter.
Laugh out loud. I got a major problem in several text messages. I need more money down, but he never swerved into the baseball lane.
This guy's in for millions of dollars and knows he can't pay it, and he won't go with the inside angle info. But Porter, allegedly, who makes $400,000, is like, okay, I'm gonna tank 2 games here and just my eye.
Maybe the bookie won't give him $80,000 on a same game parlay with the inside information.
Well, no one should give Porter an $80,000 same game parlay, but that's neither here nor there.
Wild story.
Yes,
and you brought up he lied the whole time. And then O.J. Simpson died yesterday, too. O.J. Simpson. That was actually one of the best days on Twitter ever, in my opinion. To see, like the Norm Macdonald stuff resurfacing again. And I'm a big Norm fan, but...
Yep. And now, if you have a story, though, it's going to come out. Like this gal who worked at USC. And apparently what happened when O.J. was at USC. And an NDA and a payoff as well. Incredible thread on X, if you didn't see that one, too.
I got to go back and watch the 30 for 30 on ESPN.
Oh, it's so good. I know.
It's amazing television.
But that was so well done. It was an A+. But to think, after the trial, he thought he was just going to go back to being the regular OJ.
Up next, the coach, David Thorpe, on the show. We'll have him rank teams that can win the title in order.